Welcome, everyone, to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa, and I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I live in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is just a small harbor town just north of Boston, about 20 miles away. And I live in a very old house. I feel very lucky to live here. We have some things to do today. I have quite a few finished objects to show you. I have some works in progress, and I actually have some spinning to talk about today as well, and some planned projects. So let's get started. Finished objects. I have quite a few to show you today. The first one is what I'm actually wearing. I'm very excited. This really came out very, very well. It's called the Stockholm Slipover, and it's by Petite Knit, and I just love it. This is made with the reclaimed yarn. If you remember my last couple of times, I had an older sweater that I just didn't wear very much. It was just made out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and I thought I would see if I could reuse that yarn rather than just toss the sweater or give it away. And it worked really, really well. You would never know that this had been knit into something else and sat in a drawer for quite a while. I had a couple of different things that I was thinking of making, but I ended up finding a couple of pullover patterns that I really like. I don't have very many. I have one pullover that is a Fair Isle one that I made several years ago, and I really like that one. So I thought, you know what, why don't I see if I can find another pattern? And this was perfect. The interesting thing about this, you probably can't really see it here because it's hidden, but it has a really interesting shoulder construction that I'd never done before. So that was really a fun thing to do. And then otherwise, it really is just stockinette. So that's really what I have needed to knit over the last couple of months. And it was really satisfying. So this is just going to be going with everything. I'll wear it exactly like this. I'll wear it over a shirt. I'll wear it over a turtleneck. And because it's gray, I can always add one of my shawls wrapped around my neck to kind of jazz it up a little bit. But I think this is really going to be a staple for the upcoming fall and winter. I'm really happy with this. It was a really great and easy knit, and I could see myself making more of these as well. So I'm super happy with this one. And the process of redoing the yarn, you can go back and look at some of my couple of my older videos, and you can see what I did with that. But all the different techniques that I used worked really well, and it turned into this really great pullover for me. I'm really happy, and I still have yarn left, so I'm not sure what I'll do with that, but I do have some left over if I want to make something else. Let's see. I also have a couple of pairs of socks. As you know, if you've watched before, I'm back at work 2 days a week. I work at home for 3 days a week, but I go into the office in Boston for 2 days a week. And when I do that, I travel on a bus and on the T to get into Boston. And what I usually do is knit on socks when I'm on the bus. They're just a really nice compact project, easy to do, and I actually get quite a bit of progress done on them. It's really surprising. The first pair I'll show you are the Emma Woodhouse socks, and they are by Emma Barnaby. And Emma has her own podcast, and I'll put a link in it here to the bottom. Tiny Desk Knitting, and she's great because she was focusing on Fair Isle knits at the beginning when she first started, and then she's just moved on. As your interests move on to different things, and kind of now that the winter is going to be starting to come in, she's back doing looking at some Fair Isle projects again. But one of her goals this year was to design 12 pairs of socks, and they are all based on Jane Austen characters from all of her novels. So she asked for test knitters, and she put us on a list. And so really about every month or so, I'll get a Google Doc with a new pattern to test knit, and I just love them. They're so much fun. I don't know what they're going to look like, until we get it, and I'm just really happy to be able to participate in it. And she really is great with it. She's just really looking for us to test the actual pattern, whether it's a lace pattern or or kind of a rib pattern or a textured pattern. So she really doesn't care how you do them. the instructions are usually written cuff down, but you can do whatever you want, which is great for me because as a sock knitter, I really like to knit socks toe up with some type of a short row heel and then up to the cuff. It just makes more sense to my brain, and it's easier for me to, I just have done it for so long that way. And I will really knit any sock pattern that I purchase that way. So it really didn't matter. The one thing about this that I'm going to show you is that the only thing that matters is that the patterning is going a little bit different. It's going the opposite way than it would if I had knit these top down, but it really makes no difference whatsoever. So these are the socks, and they're so much fun. So much fun. This is I think I have, oh yes I do. I'm gonna reach over here. I have a ball. This isn't the same ball, but that's what these socks are made out of, and they're made out of Lang Jawwal Magic right here. You can see that. And I got a couple of these balls from my local yarn shop, Marblehead Knits. She had some on sale, and I got 4 of these balls in a sale bag. It was great. So I've used 2 of them, and I have 2 more to go. But they just make these really beautiful neon kind of stripes, and it's really beautiful. I really love it a lot. But you can still see the pattern in here, so you can see the pattern. Now, if I had knit these top down, the pattern would be facing the other way, but that really doesn't matter whatsoever. So I just love these. I think these are going to be so cute to wear with the pop of color. And they didn't start at the same place because I just used 1 ball of yarn, so I just kept going. That does not bother me in the least. So the second sock has green and pink down here at the bottom. It starts, but what a beautiful pattern. It was really lovely. It's very intuitive, lovely lace pattern all the way up the front. And I will let you know when these come out. They're not out yet. I think she's going to wait and get them all done and then put them all out either at the same time or maybe once a month next year. But it's been really a lot of fun with these. So then I have another pair to show you as well. And these, the second one, are just a pair of the simple Skype socks, which I have knit these before. This right now kind of is my go-to pattern. I pulled this pattern out to try when Sophia and I went to Egypt last year because I thought it was an easy enough pattern to memorize. And but it wasn't just a plain vanilla sock. I'm not a big fan of doing plain vanilla socks because I get very bored. I don't want to have a lot. I don't want to have to look at a chart a lot, but I'd like to have a little bit of interest to kind of keep my brain going. And this is just some generic sock yarn that I got. So it's funny, you can see how it's kind of doing this funny pooling thing on the side. But the simple Skype sock is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I will link it. And it's really just a basic rib pattern with a little bit of interesting work in there. So it's super pretty. And again, I did these toe up, the short row heel, and I think this is really a lot of fun. And let's see if it looks the same. Yeah, looks the same on the second sock as well. I thought this was really fun. But again, just a really easy to memorize. It's easy to see where you are when you go to your next row. And yep, and I have another. Do I have another pair of these? I have another pair of these on the go. No, I don't. Actually, I started another one of Emma's socks, which I'll show you in the whips portion. So those are 2 new pairs of socks just in time. I actually wore my first pair of socks to work this week because it suddenly got cold. Yesterday was a little warm again, but before that, it's getting down into the 60s, which is great. And yeah, it looks like that yesterday I think it was in the 80s, and that's probably going to be it for us here. We're going to move right into the nice cooler weather, which is beautiful. I just love that. Let us see. Oh, okay. It's my 3rd project, and I'm super so stoked about this one. This was really lovely. This is the Vanilla Sweater by the Woolly Thistle. And Corinne at the Woolly Thistle has had this pattern out for a while. I purchased this back, I think when the war in Ukraine started. She had a special special promotion going that if you purchase the pattern, she was going to donate all of the proceeds, I think, to the Red Cross for Ukrainian support. And so I wanted to make this sweater, and I've seen lots of versions of the sweater. So I thought, okay, let me just go ahead and I will do that. I was really, really happy with it. It's a super simple pattern. It comes with video, so it shows you some of the different techniques that she's using, but it's really, really simple. And that's the whole point of this sweater. So again, this is, I used a generic gray sock yarn for this. This is knit in fingering weight yarn, but it is so, so soft and lovely. So here it is. It's just a basic boxy sweater. You can make the sleeves as long as you want or as short as you want. It also has it's designed with a little bit of a split hem. You don't have to do the split hem, but I did. I thought that was a really nice detail. And it has the it has a lovely little edging here, seed stitch edging, which was great. And yeah, it was just such an easy, lovely knit, which is just what I needed over the last few months. And I wore it already. I wore it on Friday to work, and it was perfect. I threw a t-shirt on. I put this over it. I had no issues with this. It was perfect. I was like rubbing my arm all day going, oh, this is so soft. This is perfect. So what I can also see myself making more of these too in different colors. And again, it's just a sweater to be able to just throw over and wrap something else around your neck when it gets a little bit colder. But I'm really, really happy with this. I wore it with a vest. I have a vest for work, and I just threw the vest on over it, and it was just perfect. It was perfect. I loved it. So I am super happy with this. And now that I finished this, it means I don't have a sweater on the needles. I have some plans, but I don't have one on the needles. Can you believe that right now? But super, super happy. So again, this is the vanilla sweater by the Woolly Thistle, and it's a great project. She also has, I forget what it's called, but the fluffy woolly sweater, something along those lines. But basically, it's the same pattern, but you pair the yarn with mohair. And the last time I talked to you or the time before, I've had some issues knitting, holding yarns twice with together with mohair. I wasn't really thrilled with it, so I'm not sure I would ever do that, but I know it's a thing right now, and a lot of people like it, and it would work really well with this as well. And it would make it just a little bit more elegant if you added the mohair to it. But this is just a workhorse sweater, and I am super happy with this. And you will probably see me making others in different colors, maybe like a deep green or a deep burgundy. I have to keep that in mind because it is just beautiful. The last thing I have finished, and this is really a fun one too. This is called the Cape Cod Hat. And this is by Kay Jones. I think someone had asked me before, and I think that this was one of her platinum patterns. So if you are a platinum, a gold or platinum Patreon member for the Bakery Bears, you get a certain number of special patterns for the year, and then they put out one pattern right at the time that they do their advent calendar, one for everybody. So it's really, but I've been a long time patron of the Bakery Bears. They're just fantastic. But this is called the Cape Cod Hat, and this is knit out of my hand spun. So it just has these really beautiful cables. It's super simple. It's meant to be bulky, so it just has a really simple rib at the bottom, and then these just beautiful cables all the way to the top. I actually think they're not cables. I think it's a special twisted stitch that she did. As I recall, they're not cables. But then I just added a little pom-pom at the top, and this is going to be great for the winter. This is the hand spun that I used for it, this really beautiful orange color. It's fantastic. What I think I probably will do will make a pair of really simple mitts probably to go with this hat. I haven't started that yet, but that's what I think I will do. I keep leaving these in a bag together so that I'm like, oh yes, I should open that up and maybe I should do that. But that's really what I'm planning to do. But this is going to be a great hat to wear in the upcoming cold weather that we know is coming. That we really know is coming. All right, that is it for finished objects. That was enough. I've been doing a lot of work here. So now let's move on to some works in progress. works in progress. I don't have that many of these today. I actually have 3 to show you. I think if you remember in the past, I was trying to always maybe just have 3 projects on the go. So that's all I have really that I'm actively working on right now. That may change over the next few weeks, but right now I have 3 to show you. The first is a pair of socks. This is another, the latest one in Emma Barnaby's sock test knits. And again, it's a Jane Austen theme, and they're called the Mary Bennett socks. And I am using some Knit Picks Felici, which is in the Palm Springs colorway. I got some other yarn, which I'll show you in a bit. And I decided to get a couple of balls of Felici. I haven't knit with Felici in a while, but this is super beautiful. I'll show you this. This is just a really simple textured pattern. And I've already done the heel. So I've gotten down to the heel. What I've tried, it won't work perfectly on this one, but Kay of the Bakery Bears had tried in a sock that she had. I think it was more of a tonal sock. So sometimes in skeins of tonal socks, you know, some of the skein is darker than the other part of the skein. And what she tried to do was to do the toes, the heels, and the cuff from the inside of the ball. And then that way they basically were all the same tone, whereas the body of the sock might be a different tone. You can watch, I think it was the last, not this past podcast that they did just this week, but I think the one before. And she had tried it and it worked really well. And I thought, you know, that's a really good idea. So I thought I would do that. So that's what I'm doing. I pulled the toe from the middle of the ball, and then I just cut off. And then when I got to the heel, I did the same thing. I pulled it from the middle of the ball instead. And so about half of it is brown and then half of it turns into the white, but that's okay. And then I reattached the outside of the ball. So I didn't break any of the striping pattern on the front of the sock. So it doesn't work exactly the same with the self-striping, but I thought it was an interesting concept, and I'll try that again with the next time that I do a pair of kind of tonal socks. So I think that was interesting, but it's going to work out. It's going to work out fine for these, and it really wouldn't make a difference if I had done it or not. But I think that's really gonna. I think it looks nice. But anyway, this is just a very beautiful, easy pattern to remember, and you know exactly where you are. You know, it's just a really beautiful texture, and of course I'm just doing the back plain so you can see the wonderful striping colors of Knit Picks Felici. So I'm very happy with these. These are my bus knitting right now, as I said. So that's my first project. My second project is it's a super cute one as well, and it is called Go Get 'em, Tiger. I think I had mentioned a few times ago, a friend of Sophia's from high school. She was in her wedding last year, and she actually had a little baby boy, and maybe he's 6 months or older now. So I knit him a blanket and a newborn sweater when he was first born, and that was really exciting. And I have also knit him a little beautiful vest, a Fair Isle vest, and I'm knitting him this sweater now. And then I'll be sending those to her. They're about really for a 1-year-old, so 12 months or so. So he will be right in the midst of that in the winter. They live in Virginia, so they don't need anything too hot. But I thought that this was a super cute pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I'll show you. Isn't this cute? I just love the colors and the striping. So I have the body and one sleeve done, and I'm working on the second sleeve now. It won't take long. It has some short row shaping in the back here, so that's always good. But I think it's super cute. I love the colors of it. The little bits in the second yarn really pick up that turquoise in the first one in the main color. I'm using some Bo Peep yarn, which is actually West Yorkshire Spinners. And I got this at my local yarn shop again, Marblehead Knits. She's got a bunch of this, and so I just picked up the 2 contrasting colors. And this is working up really, really quickly. And as I said, I'm not in any particular rush on this, but when I get this one done, I'll send this and the vest that I have along to her together. So just easy knit, baby knits, kids knits. They go really fast. You forget until you start to, you actually have a little one to knit for, how quickly they go along. And then my third one, I'm really, really, really happy with. It is the Wintery Lake scarf by Greta Merson. I really like Greta's aesthetic. She makes these beautiful, beautiful cabled and pattern wraps and scarves. And this one I'm anticipating will be a wrap because I'm making it out of more of a worsted weight. And it's just beautiful. I have not done anything with cables in a long time, and I'm really excited about this. I'm gonna reach over here and get it. And what I am doing with this, oh no, here it is. Hold on. I think I did put the ball band in the wrong bag. That's as happens. So what I'm using is the Cloudborne Fibers Superwash Merino Worsted Twist. Now, when I started this is a worsted yarn, and when I started it, it was this is the yarn here. It's a beautiful brown color. When I started it with the recommended needle size, I really wasn't happy with the texture of the fabric as it was coming out. It seemed to be, this is a very light worsted, so the needle size that was recommended for worsted, it was just the fabric was just kind of too floppy, and I really wasn't happy with it. And I did, I probably did the first section of repeats, and I said to myself, I just need to stop because I'm not happy with it. So I needed to decide what I wanted to do with it. I didn't want to go down a needle size because I really wanted to have something substantial and warm and just something really great to really wrap around myself. And so then I kind of was like, just put it aside for just a little bit, and went kind of thinking through my brain about what I might want to do. And I have said before, and you'll see a little bit later, oftentimes when I do spinning, I will just spin all of the beautiful fiber that I have out as a single. And sometimes I'll apply it together, but sometimes I won't, so that I get a really good amount of yarn out of it. And what I will do is I will apply it with a contrasting or coordinating color of a lace weight yarn. And that works out really great. And I've done that, and you'll see that, as I said. But I had a cone of black lace weight that I got from Webb's that I was in the process of using to apply it with the spinning that I was doing. And I thought, maybe I could try this with this kind of a light worsted, and it will turn into more of a true worsted weight of yarn. And so I ripped everything out and I tried it again, and that worked. And I'm so excited that it actually worked, because the texture, the heft of it is just coming out beautifully. I'm sure I'll put a picture of the pattern up here. She did her sample in this beautiful light gray color, and it was really gorgeous. I really wanted something. Here I am, another dark color. It's where my brain has been. And of course, it makes it a little more difficult to knit at night. Although it's easier now, because once you've done, I think, I can't remember, 25 row repeat, and it's not cables on every row. And it's not cables on the back row. So the back side, you're working it front and back. So the back side, you have a rest, and you can actually see you're knitting the knits and you're purling the pearls. So that's fairly easy. And once you've done one set of repeats, one of the repeats, you have to do a bunch more, obviously, to make it the right length. But I understand where I am and where I'm going. So it's fairly easy. It's not actually that difficult to do at night for me. So here it is, and there's the cables are beautiful because they travel across each other, and it's just lovely. And this is still, obviously it's just being knit up. When it is blocked, it will just be beautiful, I think. And so this is it right here. Oh yes, now you can see those beautiful cables. If I pull it out a little bit, you might be able to see how the cables are moving across each other. and back and forth. It's really beautiful, super beautiful. It has just this lovely, just a lovely rib down at the bottom, and then you increase. And so you're basically just doing the same number of rows a certain number of times, all the way over, and then you'll do a rib at the end, at the end. But it will be a very large and big wrap that I can just either really wrap thickly around my neck or put around my shoulders. And I am just so enjoying it. As I said, I have not done cables in a long time. I usually do the cables. The cables are there are four 4-stitch cables, so those are fairly easy. I will cable without a cable needle. My sister-in-law is always laughing. She goes, "I'm working on cables. I know Lisa's telling me in my head not to bother with a cable needle." I learned years ago. She and I actually learned together. We took a class together and learned how to cable without a cable needle, and it was an eye-opening experience. If you've never done it before, look it up. There's tons of YouTube videos on how to do it, but it is, once you get it and you're like, oh, I understand what's going on. It's so easy. You're just not fiddling around with a cable needle all the time, especially for 4-stitch cables where you're just crossing over two each time. It's so much easier to do it without a cable needle. There are 2 rows in each repeat that have a 6 stitch, actually a 12-stitch cable. So you've got to take 6 stitches off and then do the pattern on the other 6 and then cable it over. That is a little bit too much to do. I mean, you could do it, but it's a little bit too much to hold and to do it correctly. So that one I do use a cable needle for, but that's, as I said, that's only 2 rows in every 25 row repeat. So it's worked out really, really, really well. And I'm so pleased with it. And it's one of those things where I like working from a chart myself. I'm a chart person. I like working from a chart, but for me, it's just working from that chart. And then I get to see, and I'm like, oh, I'm so close. I just need to do 5 more rows and I can be done with this particular repeat. And it's really very, it just makes me want to keep going with it. And, I also have mentioned before, I use the Knit Companion app on my iPad. So I have the chart right there. And it has these really nice, markers, so you can see exactly where you are. You make note of the number of rows you've done, etc. So it makes it really easy for me to do. Certainly at night, I'm not faffing around with a piece of paper and tape. Some people like to do that, but not me. Boy, if I can do that on the iPad, that's the thing that I'm going to do. But this has been really good, and I'm really glad that I thought of putting these 2 yarns together, because I think you don't really see. I mean, what you're looking at then, it just kind of almost makes it like a darker and deeper brown color. It's not really, you can't really see any marled effect with it because they're just so close. And I am just really, really happy with it. And I can't wait to see it blocked out, because then the cables will just really, really pop. And I'm really, really looking forward to wearing it deep into the cold winter that I'm sure we have coming. So those are my only 3 projects right now. Amazing. But I do have some other plans. So let me show you the plans that I have now. Upcoming knits. Maybe some of these projects will inspire you to take a look at them as well. I have 3. I'm not sure when I'll start them or what order I will do them in, but maybe I'll do them all at once. A couple of times ago, maybe the last time, on Fruity Knitting, they did an interview with Georgia Farrell, and she is a designer. She works a lot with Rowan. She also self-publishes some of her patterns. And they, of course, had a discount code because I'm also a patron of Fruity Knitting. And one of the patterns that she showed is called the Lauderdale Scarf. I'll put a picture up here as well. And it is just beautiful. It's beautiful. She does a lot of designing that is very inspired by architectural pieces. So she'll look at buildings and kind of think about how she could make those into a garment or a scarf or do something along those lines. And this is one of those, and it is a beautiful scarf. And they had a discount, kind of a package. If you bought the pattern and the yarn from Rowan, it would be at a significant discount. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for myself. And this is the yarn that I got. It's Rowan Alpaca Classic. And I got it in the same color that she did it. And it is just, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful and it's so soft. And I think that once I get going on that scarf, it's going to go fast, and it's going to be really, really beautiful. And this is just such a deep and lovely, winter fall color that I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to try to hold off until I get most of the wrap done, or maybe at least the baby sweater. I can do that pretty quickly before I start on this project. But I think this is going to be beautiful. The yarn is beautiful. All of her designs were lovely, but this scarf design really called out to me. So I went ahead and splurged a little bit on that. My second project that I purchased the pattern on Ravelry, and I have purchased the yarn for it as well. It is called the Agnes, and it's by Camilla Vod, and it is so gorgeous. Again, I'll put a picture of it up here. It is the most beautiful sweater. I favorited it when it first came out on Ravelry, and then I forgot about it. And then when I went back and started looking again, I was like, oh, I forgot about this sweater. This is gorgeous. It is. It's a top down, a yoke sweater, but has beautiful colors in it. And so I got, Knit Picks was having a sale on Will of the Andes. And so I picked up the sweater quantities from them on that. I do like to get my sweater quantities from Knit Picks. It's just really economical. And, I'll spend some more of my money on some special yarns at different points. But when I'm just making a big project, I tend to do that. But so I have these 4 colors. The main color is going to be this light color, and then these 3 colors will be the contrast. The contrast for the yoke. These are basically the colors that the sample is knit in, and I just loved it. Sometimes I'll fool around and change colors up, but I thought, nope, that's the color palette that I want to knit, and I'm really excited about this. So I have all this yarn as well, ready to go. So you can see I have some. We'll be busy this winter when I finally get to them. The third project that I'm going to do, I think I can put a picture of it up here as well, or I'm thinking about doing. I shouldn't say. I don't have any yarn for this one yet, but each year the Shetland Wool Adventures Journal comes out, and I've got this is the hard copy of Volume 1. And this comes out once a year, and I also have Volume 2, but I think I just got the digital version of Volume 2. And it is just beautiful. It has all kinds of articles about Shetland. It has recipes. It has, and really the most important thing for me is the patterns. And they just have some really beautiful patterns in here, and they have charts and etc. Hats and scarves and just beautiful Fair Isle pieces. So in the second version of it, there is a pullover like this, except it's Fair Isle. And so I'm thinking about doing that again. It's interesting. You have to steek the neck, which is what I've done before, the one I did on the one I've already completed several years ago. And that particular pattern had you steek at the armholes as well. This pattern doesn't. It's a different technique. It does have you steek for the neck, but it has you stop when you're doing you get up to the armholes, and then you are going back and forth, but you're still only knitting on the front. So that a lot of times it's difficult if you're trying to knit a piece Fair Isle flat. It's difficult because you still have to do the charting on the opposite side, which I don't even know if I could wrap my brain around that. And in this version, you're using circular needles, and so you're going across, and you just leave all your, you've got all your colors still attached, but you slide your piece over and start again on the front. So you're just knitting that all the way up, and you do the same on the back, and then you attach the shoulder. So that's an interesting technique. I've never done that before. So I haven't looked at it too closely, just to kind of get a general sense of it. So that will be interesting. I don't have yarn for that one yet, but I do, I have the pull this time of year. You have the pull to get back into maybe some color work and some Fair Isle, specifically Fair Isle color work. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just end up doing a hat. instead of that one, but I would really like to have a pullover. I really find like I said, I don't have very many. This is only the second one that I've made, and I think it's a good option for me for work, especially when we're doing. If I'm virtual, I only have to look good from the top up. You don't have to worry about what you're wearing. You're wearing down below, whether you're wearing shorts or jeans or pajama bottoms and slippers. So it's a good dressy kind of option for me. So I'm thinking about that. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted and see how it goes. But yeah, all right. Let's move on to some spinning. Spinning. I've been getting back to a little bit of spinning. I'm pretty excited about it. And the first one is a completed. It's almost completed. It's almost off of the wheel. This actual spinning part is completed. I'm just in the process of completing the plying. But here it is. This is beautiful. You can see this is the beautiful blue dyed merino. Oh, it's so lovely. It has blues and purples and it has some blacks really dark in it. And this is from Little Bean Loves Yarn. And Kayleen lives here in Marblehead, and I often get a lot of my fiber from her, but this is really beautiful. This is one of the ones that I decided to just go ahead and spin the fiber all in a single, and I'm plying it with that black lace weight yarn, and that just gives me so much yardage. I think I probably will I might do a Felix sweater with this. I'm going to have quite a bit of it. I did a Felix sweater last year and I loved it. It's such a light and airy sweater that still works in the fall, winter, and the spring. Again, just throwing it over a turtleneck or over a shirt like this. It's just really, really nice. I think the last version I did was 3/4 sleeves, which again is really, really convenient. And I'll put a picture of it in here as well. And I think I'm probably going to have enough of this. I did not spin or ply this very tightly, so it will be kind of a worsted weight yarn. I may, the next time I do this, I might ply it a little tighter and see what the yarn looks like. But this is just kind of my default. And at this point in time, I'm not stressing myself out about anything regarding crafting. So but it's really beautiful. I love the color, and it came out so well. I also went ahead and purchased, because this was my last bag of colored fiber that I have. I still have quite a bit of fiber from Carol at Foster Sheep Farm, and that is really beautiful. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way through that huge amount that I have, and that will turn into some type of a lovely sweater at some point. But I just kind of keep plugging away at that. But sometimes you really just want, it's a beautiful fawn kind of color, and sometimes you just want color, something to pop. And so I've been working on this to try to get this finished. And as I said, it's almost finished. The spinning part is finished, and I'm just I'm plying up the rest of it. But this has already been done. And I purchased 2 more bags of fiber, some beautiful fiber from Wound Up Fiber Arts. You can see that there. And it's really great. Superwash merino, which again, is kind of my default to go to when I get this yarn. This is called Dark Brew. Again, I just thought it was a great fall color. Isn't that great? It's got all the oranges and the browns and the lights. Oh, it's beautiful. I can't wait to get that going. And then I also purchased from her, and this is more spring, so I'll probably do this later in the winter to kind of bring my mood up. And this is it's actually called Spooky Walk. So I think it's designed to kind of be a more of maybe Halloween, but to me it kind of has all these spring colors. So that's probably when I'll do it later in the springtime. But I'm really happy with that. The exciting thing is I have to tell you that I actually purchased a woolly winder for it's one of those things that if you're a spinner, you see people with the woolly winder, you're like, oh, really? I need to have that someday. And I just have never done it. I've had my spinning wheel probably it's been a long time since Mark got it for me. So it's probably been, I don't know, since 2006, 2007, someplace in that range. So I've had it for a long, long time, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's a Silhouette, and I don't have any problem changing. It has the hooks on it, so you have to change the fiber every now and again, which is perfectly fine. But I just it it was time, and I bought a woolly winder, and it's amazing. Of course, I bought the woolly winder, and I bought it with the woolly winder and then one bobbin. So I need to fill in some other bobbins so I can have a complete set. So I probably will end up. I'll just probably get another 3 bobbins and kind of like over time. But what a difference it makes. And it's so much fun once you figure out how it's going to work. I don't think I'll ever go the route of an e-spinner, but to have the woolly winder really makes a difference. It's just so smooth, and you just don't have to stop. You just can stop when you want to stop spinning. You can just keep on going, and it really makes a difference. I found it's it's a long time coming, and it was a purchase that was really worth it. I'm going to continue to enjoy that as time goes on. But that's all my spinning. So let's talk a little bit about what's been going on. So what has been happening? It's been quite a bit actually since the last time I podcasted. I think if you remember that it has been a very, very, very tough year for me at work. We lost several people. Well, lost them. They've moved on to other jobs, and so I really have been doing the work, most of the work of at least 3 other positions, and sometimes I'm doing 4 other positions work, and it has been very, very difficult and very stressful. And I think that it comes out in my crafting because I've just been doing something plain and simple like this. I just wanted socks. I just wanted stockinette, something I didn't really need to think about during this crazy time. I also hurt my shoulder, and so I had to go to PT, and that's feeling much better now. That didn't really affect my knitting or crafting, but it just wears on you when you have any type of an injury like that. So I have had that. So it's been very, very tough after COVID. Still haven't gotten COVID. I'm amazed. I'm amazed that we haven't. We're going to be getting our flu shot next week, and then probably I'll have maybe 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have us all get the next COVID booster that we can get, and then we should be good for the winter time. But I'm very thankful that we haven't caught COVID yet anyway. But the really great thing that happened at work was that when I was on my vacation in July, I had an email from my boss, and she told me that she had gotten a promotion approved for me. So that was actually really amazing, and it included a nice little bump in pay. So I'm still pretty stressed out. I'm still doing a lot of the work, but when you have that happen, you feel like at least somebody knows the value of the work that you're doing, and you can just kind of keep going a little bit. So that's really the reason why, kind of as a gift to myself for getting that. That's why I was able to purchase the woolly winder, and I've gotten myself some some of the other project yarn that I've shown you. I think if I hadn't, I would not have been purchasing those those items. But as a treat to myself, I just said, let's go ahead. I talked to Mark about it. He's like, yeah, isn't there something that you want for your spinning wheel? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, go do it. Go get it. So I did. So that's why I have a couple of projects worth of yarn ahead. I usually don't have a lot of stash yarn, and this yarn is all it's not really stashed. It's all spoken for. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it, and I'm just really excited to have that woolly winder and be able to do that. It just and like I said, it's still extremely stressful, and I'm still doing the same amount of work, but at least it takes the edge off. It makes you feel a little bit more that your work is worthwhile, that somebody understands what you're doing. And this has been a long time coming. I mean, I know that my boss has been trying to do this. It was just a matter of actually getting the institution to go along with it. And I think by the time that they realized that we had so many people and gone, and that I was really actually doing so many people's jobs, that they finally said, yeah, I don't think that they wanted, I don't think they wanted me to leave either. So that has been really, really good. And we actually now that school has started already, so we're now into the second week of school, and I have a week's vacation again. I was smart. they're smart. I I took another vacation week in September, so that's really where I am now, which is really really nice. Um, but now it will calm down a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, we'll have to start planning for next year, but I'll have probably about a month in there where it won't be quite as hectic as it was over the summer, which will be really nice. And then my niece, my knitting compatriot Tracy, my brother Ed, their daughter Kate got married a couple of weeks ago. So we went to Sophie and I went to that. Poor Mark got sick. All three of us were supposed to go, but Mark got very sick. So he did not come, but Sophia and I did, and we stayed. It was actually outside of Saratoga. It was one of those lovely barn venues. It was really nice. And it was Labor Day weekend. So my parents still have a house there, but they don't really have bedrooms anymore. They don't have the beds in them. They've used the rooms for other things. So we couldn't really stay there. And it was still the last week of the Saratoga racetrack. So the prices were just outrageous for actually trying to stay in Saratoga. And the venue was 45 minutes out, 45 minutes closer to here. It was 45 minutes east of Saratoga. So I poked around and I found an Airbnb for us to stay in, which was delightful. It was absolutely delightful. And it turned out that the Airbnb that we were in was literally a 4-minute drive from the wedding venue. Could not have been, could not have been better. Could not have been better. So Sophia and I went out the day before the wedding. So we spent a night there, had a lovely dinner, just relaxed. And then the next day, we had a lovely morning, lovely breakfast. This included breakfast in both mornings that we were there. And then we went to the wedding in the afternoon. My parents are up there. Mark's parents are up there as well, but my parents are pretty close to 90. Did my dad turn 90 yet? I can't remember. Maybe he did. Is that bad? That's bad. I don't know how old they are. I just know they're old. My mother's not 90 yet, but I think my father is, or he might just have turned 89. But my dad he really is legally blind. He had lots of issues with one eye for years after a car accident, and he's had problems internally in the eye, and it's just been a mess. And now his other eye really is not very good either, and so he can no longer drive. And he is also he's getting more frail as well. So he has trouble walking. And I think most of the trouble walking is because he can't see. So he doesn't know where there's a step, or he doesn't quite know what's in front of him. So my brother and sister-in-law actually got a golf cart to take them around because part of the venue was down a hill. And so that was nice. So Sophia got to she spent all of her time with her cousins. She has several cousins that were at the wedding, and she hasn't seen them in a while. And then I really most of the time I spent with my parents. And again, I don't get to spend a lot of time with them because we're not there anymore. But so I was kind of their helper for the wedding, making sure they were able to get onto the golf cart and get where they needed to go and get them food and drink. And they really were going to, they were making noises about just leaving after the ceremony. And my other sister-in-law was just going to drive them home whenever they wanted to do that. And but it was really impressive. They stayed fairly long into the wedding. They stayed obviously for the wedding. They stayed through the cocktail hour, and they stayed through the dinner too. I was actually amazed. And then my mom was making noises about leaving, and the music was going. My dad got out of his chair and he starts doing a little dancing. I grabbed Sophia and I'm like, come on over, come and dance with your grandparents. And so she came over and she's got them both on the floor. And then Kate, the bride, and her husband came over and they were dancing with them. Neither of my parents are very mobile, but they were on the dance floor and they stayed quite a long time until finally I think they were kind of got a little tired after that. And then my sister-in-law did bring them, or my other brother brought them home. But I was impressed that they had done that. I think I have a couple of shots of video, so I'll see if I can put them in, or some pictures in at the end, just to give you an idea of it. It was quite the experience, but it was really fun because I got to spend a lot of time with them. So that was really nice. And then Tracy and I think I've said before, I'm not going to go to Rhinebeck this year. Sophia and I are not going to go to Rhinebeck. I just have been too stressed, and we just got too far behind, and we don't have a place to stay. And it's just too complicated to go to Rhinebeck this year. But we do want to go next year. And Tracy and I have committed. I think once Rhinebeck is done this year, we'll get right on and get a house for next year, because we do have friends that like to go as well. So I think we would really like to do it, but we're going to skip it this year. I think what we're going to do though is there's the Fiber Festival of New England, and that is November 5th and 6th at the Big E in Springfield. It's a big big fair venue, so we're making plans to get together for that. So let me know if anybody's going out to the Fiber Festival of New England. We'll be there on Saturday, and I think that'll be really nice. We'll drive out with Sophia. We'll just go for the day, and that'll be a really just a nice thing to do, because we're not going to Rhinebeck, but I'm really looking forward to that. And as I said, we are on vacation. I am on vacation this week, which is great. And we had a great experience on Friday, which was my last day of work. It was crazy. Marcus has a really nice guitar. He's taking guitar lessons every other week from this really great teacher who comes right to the house. He's just a great guy. And one of his heroes is Eric Clapton. He loves his music. He loves his guitar playing, etc. So I had a message from Sophia on Friday afternoon, and she's like, "Hey, Mom, would you guys be interested in free tickets to Eric Clapton tonight?" This was Friday night, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Well, one of my compatriots at work, just sent out an email saying she had free tickets, and she and her husband couldn't go." And I was like, "Well, if you can get them, sure." And then she called me back a little while later, and she said, "I couldn't get the free ones; they had already gone. But what if I just buy you guys tickets? Would you go?" And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Well, I took you to Egypt last year, and she goes, I've got some extra." She had a little bit of a promotion at work as well. She goes, "I've got a little extra money in my, in my savings account. I think I'd like to do this. I'd like to do this for Dad." And I was like, "Call him up and ask him." And her husband was like shocked. And so she got us really great tickets, really great. And again, I'll put in a picture of where our tickets were. It was at the TD Garden right in Boston. So this was probably about 3:00 in the afternoon. So I had to find parking, but I got us a parking reservation, and he drove in and met me at school. And then we went over to the parking venue and parked and got out. And it was only a couple of blocks from the TD Garden. And we went and had just a nice light meal. And then we went and saw Eric Clapton. And it was actually so much fun. And it probably was really much better for him, because he wasn't, it was just a shocker, and there wasn't any planning about it. And it wasn't as if he had spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these tickets, and, was worried about it, and just like anxious about how it was all going to work. Sometimes you get that way. If you're going to something special, you're thinking about it for weeks ahead. This was just perfect, because it was just right at the end. And I think that, Sophia was able to get some really good seats at she paid some money for them, but it wasn't, it wasn't thousands of dollars or anything like that at all. And I think some of these venues, if you wait to the day of, if they still have seats available, they lower the price on some of those seats. So I think that's what she was able to grab onto two seats, which were on the side of the on the side of the stage. They were great. They were really great. And it was just so much fun. I haven't been to a concert in forever. I certainly not since COVID. So that was, and it was so weird to be in. We're like in there. I'm like, and not even thinking about COVID. And 2 years ago, I wouldn't have gone near a place like that. So that was really, really, really nice. So this vacation is just a stay-at-home vacation. I'm just going to relax. That's all I really need to do. I'm going to sit outside when it's beautiful and warm, which I did yesterday. I'm going to do a lot of knitting. I'm going to do a lot of podcast watching. I'm going to do a lot of Netflix and Video Prime watching. I'm going to do a lot of reading. We'll go out to dinner a couple of times, and I just need to relax so that I can just have a fresh brain to get back at it next week. So I'm really just looking forward to enjoying this week. So that's really all that's happening here. Let me know what's going on with you, and again, let me know if you're going to the Fiber Festival. I'm, never know, if you see me there, you can come up and say hello. I don't know what I'll be wearing. I don't have a plan for a sweater, so who knows what I'll be wearing for it, but some knitted item that I have, and yeah. So enjoy the rest of the summer. Enjoy the fall because it is sweater weather now, isn't it? It certainly is up here in the northern hemisphere for us. So that's about it. I'm going to try to put in. I took a walk a few weeks back, and I think I took some pictures of the walk through Marblehead. So I think I'm going to be able to put that in. I put a couple of pictures of the wedding, and yeah, and so you can see those at the end. So thanks for watching, and remember, it's just knitting. Bye.